1%. That's what a lot of people quietly pay someone to manage their retirement. And it sounds like a rounding error. But over a whole career, that 1% doesn't just take a slice of your money. It takes a slice of everything that money would have earned for the next 20, 30 years. And the younger you are, the worse it is. More time for it to compound against you. I'm Stan. I came up broke, and I watched fees quietly drain my own mom's retirement. Now people your age are walking into the same trap with far more to lose. By the end, you'll know what that 1% really cost you by the time you retire, and the one question that gets an advisor to give you a straight answer. Not advice, just the math. Let's follow the money.
But this trap isn't only for retirees. It bites hardest when you have decades of savings still ahead of you. So picture someone in her early 40s, career finally humming, retirement account slowly building. Call her Jennifer. Jennifer's done the hard part. Steady career, a growing 401k, money finally moving in the right direction. Retirement is still 25 years out, which means every dollar she saves now has decades to grow. But she's slammed. Work, life, a calendar with no white space. Investing feels important and intimidating, so it keeps sliding to next month. When a friend says, just get an advisor, it sounds like relief. So she books the meeting. Marble floors, soft music, a wall of certificates. Everything in the room whispers one promise. You're successful. You shouldn't have to think about this. Then Vince crosses the lobby, hand already out. Vince doesn't talk about funds. He talks about how busy she is, how one wrong move could cost her, how people like her don't have time for spreadsheets. That's what I'm for, he says warmly. Every sentence presses the same nerve. It's complicated. It's too important to risk. But don't worry, I'll handle all of it. To a busy professional, that isn't a sales pitch. It sounds like getting her evenings back. Then comes the paperwork, thick with signature tabs. Buried on one page sits a single quiet line. A management fee of about 1% of everything in the account, taken every year, for as long as the money stays. She signs every tab without slowing down, not because she read it, but because she trusts him to have read it for her. That's the whole move. They don't sell you funds. They sell you time. At the door, he shakes her hand with both of his. It's handled, he says. Go focus on your life. And she believes him completely. She walks out lighter than she's felt in months. There's just one question nobody in that room asked out loud. The question the whole arrangement quietly depends on. Managing her money. To do what, exactly? A year goes by. Work deadlines, a vacation, 100 emails, and never once an envelope asking her to pay for all that management. She takes the silence as proof it's working. The silence is the arrangement. Because almost no one in this business mails a bill. The fee is lifted straight off the account before she ever opens a statement. A small slice, 4 times a year, gone. No check to sign, nothing to feel. And in a rising market, the balance still climbs every quarter, so every statement carries only good news. The fee never looks like a loss. It just quietly makes every gain smaller than it should have been. Now, 1% sounds like nothing. On paper, it's a rounding error. But it isn't charged on her gains. It's charged on the whole balance every year, whether the market rises, falls, or does nothing at all. And here's what a retiree doesn't have to fear, but Jennifer does. Time. Every dollar that fee skims isn't just a dollar. It's a dollar that would have grown and compounded for the next 25 years. On a long enough runway, that quiet 1% doesn't nibble. It devours. Over an investing lifetime, that 1% can swallow a quarter or more of the money she'd otherwise retire with. Not the gains. A quarter of the whole thing. Here's what it means for you. The younger you are, the more that fee costs, because it robs the longest stretch of compounding you'll ever get. A retiree loses a slice. A 40-something loses a fortune. And for that fee, what did Vince actually do? He put her savings in a plain, sensible mix and left it alone. He rarely calls. No secret strategy. No floor of analysts. One decision, made once, billed forever. That's the trap. Ongoing management gets sold as necessary and protective. But for a simple goal, build it up and let it grow, it usually isn't. She's paying a forever price on the longest timeline for a one-time job. It might have gone on for years, except Jennifer mentioned the fee over lunch to Dee, who reads fine print for a living. Dee set down her fork. Wait, 1% of everything, every year? The problem isn't that you got help, Dee said. It's how you're paying for it. Then she asked the question that changes everything. Is your money situation actually complicated, or is it simple? Because for a simple situation, money that just needs to grow until you retire, the right answer is almost free. You buy one thing yourself. A target date retirement fund. About 0.1% a year. And here's the trick nobody told her. That one fund is a bundle of index funds, automatically diversified, automatically rebalanced, all the way to her retirement year. You set it up in an afternoon, then you leave it alone. The whole plan for a simple case fits on an index card. A low-cost fund that owns the whole market and more bonds as you near the finish. That's it. That's the secret they charge a fortune to protect. To feel the gap, run it forward. Same funds, same market, 25 years. The 1% and the 0.1% lines start together, then split into a canyon, a gap best measured in extra years at work, not just dollars. There's even a pay-once version, a flat-fee planner who maps it all out for a few $1,000s. But for a simple situation, that's overkill too. A plan like that only earns its price when life is genuinely complicated. A business, a big estate, real tax knots. A simple retirement account just doesn't have. One more thing Dee flagged. Not everyone who calls himself an advisor is legally required to put you first. Some are salespeople, paid more to steer you into pricier products. Vince wasn't on her side. He was on the payroll. So the real villain isn't only the 1%. It's the machine that convinces busy people. A simple, nearly free decision demands paying an expert a fortune, one time or forever. Now, this part matters. That does not mean fire every advisor. Some people genuinely need ongoing help. Jennifer's uncle Walt is one of them. Walt's memory isn't what it was. His estate is a tangle, a business, 2 marriages, a stack of tax knots. Left alone, he'd panic sell in the first crash. Walt is complicated. For him, real help is worth every penny. So here's the test on one card. Simple. Money that just needs to grow until you retire. Do it yourself with a target date fund and pay almost nothing. Complicated. An estate, a business, taxes, or nerves that won't hold. Then a plan or ongoing help can earn its price. And if you can't name a real reason you'd be complicated, you're almost certainly simple. That's the part the whole industry is quietly counting on you never figuring out while the clock runs. So, which was Jennifer? Simple. No business, no tangle, a steady paycheck feeding a retirement account with decades to grow. Her real answer was a target date fund and one quiet afternoon. Not $3,000. Not 1% forever. She was never the person that expense saves. With 25 years of compounding ahead, she was the person it drains the hardest. The machine was built to make a capable woman feel her simple money was too complex for her. So she fixed it in 3 plain steps. First, she found the fee, the exact line on the statement, and she said the number out loud. You can't undo a cost you've never once looked at. Second, she asked the only question that matters. In the past year, what did that fee actually buy? The honest answer, a mix she could hold herself, and a phone that almost never rang. Third, the fit. One simple target date fund in her own account set up in an afternoon. The cost fell to a sliver of what it was. Same money, same market, but now the whole 25 years compounds for her. The first statement after the switch, she read every line herself. Nothing hidden in it. No slice slipping off to somewhere she couldn't see. Just her money and one number she completely understood. A few months on, the account looks almost the same steady curve. What changed is invisible. The slice that used to vanish every quarter now stays and starts its long, quiet climb, compounding for her instead of for him. And what she was really sold, peace of mind, turned out to be something no marble office could hand her. It was simply this: knowing what she owns, what it costs, and why. That was never once beyond her. So here's your move. This week, not someday. Pull one statement. Find the management fee. Then write one sentence naming what it actually bought you this past year. If your money just needs to grow until you retire, you're simple, and simple is nearly free. A target date fund and an afternoon. If your life is genuinely complicated, an estate, a business, real taxes, a one-time plan, or the right help earns its keep. The trap is paying complicated prices for a simple life. It's good for some people, but if you can't name why that's you, it's probably not you. Jennifer didn't know. Now she does, with decades still on the clock. Find out what you're paying, ask what it buys, and make it a decision, not a default. I'll see you next week. Find the management fee on your statement and say the number out loud. The younger you are, the more a 1% fee costs. It steals decades of compounding. For a simple goal, a target date fund, about 0.1%, does the job yourself for almost nothing. A flat fee plan, a few $1,000s, is only worth it when your life is genuinely complicated. Ongoing 1% advice helps some people. If you can't name why that's you, it's probably not. Those are your takeaways. I'm Stan, a real person behind this channel, and it genuinely matters to me that this helps you. If you learned something today, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And drop your story in the comments. We all make mistakes, we all learn. I'd love to hear what's worked for you.